Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this paper crafting tutorial. These are the little mini albums we're making today. This one just says birthday on it and you can see it opens here at the side, and then you've got a little pocket here for a tuck spot, and then you've got some internal pages and then another tuck spot at the back. I haven't decorated the internal pages because the size of this album is really small. It's only 10 by 10 centimeters, so I wanted to leave it blank inside in case I was going to put lots of photos there, and if I'm going to cover it in photos there's no need to waste lots of pattern paper that's just going to be hidden by photos. So my first one there was in Pebble Path, was the cardstock I used. This time we're going to use a slightly different colourway. We're going to do wild wheat. So I've got 3 pieces here of wild wheat. They all measure 9.5 centimetres by 21 centimetres, then 20.5 centimetres, and then 20 centimetres. So now we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to score at 9.5 centimetres on each side, and we're going to do this for all 3 pieces here. So 9.5 centimetres from each side, and this is to create our hinge system. So 9.5 centimetres again. There we go. Okay. So now we're just going to fold on those score lines that we created, and I'm just using my bone folder here to get a really nice crisp fold. It looks like I've got some glue on my mat, so I'm just going to rub that away using my glue eraser, and then just going to continue here folding on our score lines. So we've got all 3. So now you'll see that each one has a very wide hinge, one has a smaller one, and then one has a tiny one. So I'm going to take the middle one here, and I'm just going to use tear and tape because I found it easier to use tear and tape, but you could use whatever glue of preference you have. I'm going to give this a burnish because all tape is pressure adhesive. So now you want to center this in between those 2 score lines that you see there, and you want to get it level top and bottom with what your cardstock is already. So something roughly like that, and then give it a good press down, and then I'm going to fold it up and make sure nothing is showing, which it isn't. So that's perfect. And then we're going to do our last one here, and as if by magic our score tape just fits perfectly in that little hinge area, that spine I should say. So the same thing as before, we're going to center that between the 2 score lines, keep it straight top and bottom. Now sorry my head's in the camera, not pretty sight at all, I know, but you really do need to be able to look straight down over your project to make sure you get things as straight and as lined up as you can. And there you can see we've made the basis of our album, and I'm just giving everything a really good burnish to make sure everything folds really nicely. And there we go. Okay, so there is our little mini album. So now we want to do some die cutting, and I'm using here, the first one I used was Unbound Beauty, was the designer series paper. This paper is a wildflower or wildflower flowering meadow, I think it is, wildflowering meadow or something to that effect. Anyway, you can find it all listed and linked on my blog post. You'll find there all the measurements as well as all the supply list. And this piece is just cut to 9 by 9 centimeters, and I cut 5 of these. So I'm going to have to just make sure I have this centered. And this one is not properly cut, so I'm going to come back and fix that one. You'll see in a minute. Then this one I'm going to cut to create my tuck spot. So this piece is going to get cut point to point. And I'm just going to put a bead of glue along the 2 right angles, not the hypotenuse, and then I'm going to put my tuck spot down like that. And I'll leave it like that for now, but I will go back and fix that because I end up not being happy with the way it looks. I do cut another piece. This is the way it should look. I somehow mucked up on the measurement there for that piece. And there we go, here is our other tuck spot. Lovely. And I'm not going to, as I said, do any pattern paper for the internal pieces because, as I said, it is such a small piece, so my photos will be 9 by 9, and I don't really want to put down pieces of design series paper and then cover them up totally with with my photo. So now here I am just getting out some more paper so that I can cut a piece out to measure as I wanted to measure, which was 9 by 9. So there we go, 9 by 9. Get rid of the score trimmer. You can see here I'm just going to pull everything up very, very carefully. I do make a bit of a dog's dinner of this. And in the end I decide just to rip it up and hope for the best. I've left all of this in here so you can see we all make boo-boos, we all make errors, and it's not the end of the world. That is fixable, even though it looks like an absolute disaster at the moment. You won't even know that there was a problem by the time we're finished. So let's put down a new piece of design series paper. That covers all of our problems there. And then we're just going to cut another piece here to make our tuck spot. I really like this paper. It is just so pretty. I'm glad this is carried over into the online exclusives, which is where you'll find it from the beginning of May onwards. For now, it's still available in our normal catalogue, but from the beginning of May, it'll move into the online exclusives. A lot of things are moving into the online exclusives, and I will be doing a video at the beginning of May explaining how things are changing with Stampin' Up, so do look out for that. There we go. Now I've put that down now. That looks much better. I'm much happier with that. Now I'm going to cut this little piece here just to measure for our for our spine. So it's going to be 9 centimeters long by, I haven't got the measurement down here how wide it is. I think by 3/4 centimeter wide, if I remember rightly. Okay, so this time I've decided to change the way I do the binding. Before I hid the ribbon underneath the designer series paper, this time I'm just going to wrap the whole thing around in ribbon, and I think I really like the way this looks. I love this ribbon. It is so pretty. So this is the iridescent ribbon, striped ribbon, and it's really pretty. So I'm just going to tie a bow, and even for someone like me who is totally bow challenged, it's still going to look really pretty because the ribbon is just stunning, absolutely stunning ribbon. Okay, so it's going to cut off a little bit of our tails, try and make it look a bit neater. There we go. And then I've got here some of our sentiments, and this is the sentiment from the Sayings for Everything. No, greetings for everyone, I think it is, something to that effect. As I said, it will all be listed and linked in the description box below, as well as on the blog post, and you can find the link to that in the description box below. So now I'm trying to decide which looks better. I'm going to stick with that one, I think. And then I'm also going to bring in the fully flowering. I've used in my previous one anyway, the fully flowering designer series, fully flowering ephemera pack, to also embellish the front. But for now, Oh Happy Day will do very well indeed. And then I'm going to use some of these dots here, and these are the tinsel gem dots. I'm just 4-pack, and I'm just going to scatter these around. Now these are on the retiring list. If they have retired, there are plenty more gems you could use. So this is my original here, and That is the second one I've made, so you can tell me which one you prefer. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up. And thank you for joining me today for this tutorial showing you how to make these micro mini albums using products from Stampin' Up. Until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.